Hey everyone, it's Grace from CWO, and today I have the honor, the privilege of introducing you guys to the legendary Myles Kovacs. He is the co-founder of Dub Magazine. He is a well-known entrepreneur, and he was SEMA's 2020 Person of the Year. That is exciting, Myles.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here, and I'm super excited. Love what you guys do for the industry.
Awesome, thank you. So tell us a little bit more about the TAS and Dub Magazine and how that all started.
So 23 years ago, I think now or something, I'm old, so just let's get that out of the way. I think it was like 23, 24 years ago, me and a couple partners founded Dub Magazine and kind of built that business up. 20 years ago, we launched TIS Wheels. So TIS Wheels came out 20 years ago. Dub Magazine, I think, is gonna go to 24 years old. So.
Okay, so it's been a little bit.
It's been a little bit.
Tell me about where you got these names from. I'm always kind of curious of how the entrepreneurs get their titles, their names. Like, where did that come from?
No, that's a great question. So dub was basically the street term for the number 20. So, it's dime, deuce, trade, dub was 2 10s, like double dime. So I saw that going on, and they started referencing the rims as dubs, the 20s. So then we basically trademarked the wheel on the name for the magazine as Dub Magazine. And we wanted to profile professional athletes, celebrities, rappers, musicians, things like that, and show off their vehicles and kind of show their lifestyle. So we were kind of like Instagram before there was Instagram.
That's
TikTok
so true.
before
There's
there
so
was TikTok,
many.
Yeah.
There's so many reels and the YouTube videos out there. It's amazing. Is that kind of where you got started into the Dub Magazine project too? Because you've seen Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa. There's so many names out there.
Yeah, so we launched the magazine first, and then we started doing shows and events, car show and concerts with major hip hop artists and rock artists and things like that. And then we started doing toy cars, the little Dub City diecast toys, and they were Walmart, Target. I mean, we sold 25 million toys.
Wow.
So it was pretty cool. There's an ongoing joke that we sold more Cadillac Escalades than Cadillac, because we sold so many toys of the Cadillac Escalade. It was amazing. But yeah, really great partners, great business opportunities. And the market was just like fresh. I mean, when we first started, it was very difficult to convince people that urban automotive culture was going to be a thing. Like everybody's kind of like, oh, this is ghetto and this and that. And then that was also the MTV age where MTV was launching their starting to develop their unique content, but it was really about music television, playing music videos. So we really focused on how do we market through MTV and music videos, and so we started building cars for rappers and different people to be in music videos, and then we started doing product placement, product integration on different shows, BET, MTV, different shows like that, and then we got really good at it, and then we worked with MTV and BET. We did a special. So we actually did Whip Rides and Dubs Edition special, and the whole MTV Cribs like a dub special. And we actually brought Snoop Dogg to SEMA. So that was really cool to coordinate with SEMA and bring Snoop out there and stuff like that. And that was probably 15 years ago. So it's kind of, at the time it was cutting edge. Like MTV wasn't going to places like that. I don't know if they were even welcome there. Street culture, they didn't really probably want us there. But we brought MTV there, we brought celebrities and stuff there, and we throw a big old party every year at SEMA, and you know what, it's been 20-something years of that, and it's been awesome. One thing we know how to do is throw a party, that's for sure.
It sounds like it. I want to join these parties. It sounds so fun.
Well, you got to come out to the party. You got to come to SEMA too. Okay, good.
This year is going to be the year that we're all just going to hang out at SEMA and just have a ball with it. Because every year I always see something about SEMA and it's amazing. These cars and trucks are so tricked out. Do you have any of the favorites that you brought there recently?
I like them all. I like the UTVs, side-by-side stuff. I'm an avid motocrosser, so I
really?
wish TIS was, yeah. Well, you'll see us get more involved with moto and stuff. I've been riding motocross since I was 11, so I still race on the weekends and stuff like that, even though I'm 50 years old. So, but yeah, just
awesome.
being in the industry so long and starting so many different businesses and stuff like that, and all these different ventures, I just learned a lot. So it's helped us make good decisions and really understand branding and marketing, and how to talk to customers and identify who our real customers are. So.
All right. So with your whole development of the TIS, I understand that you are also designing the wheels. Are you still heavily involved in designing the wheels now, or do you have a team to take that over, or how's that work?
So I work with engineers, but I'm heavily involved with the design and kind of what's going to happen next. I travel all over the world and I visit shops and different retailers and wholesalers and companies and go to events. So I'm really involved with kind of what's trending, what's going on, what's going to happen next. And when I was younger, I was like, we just need to do this because this is new, and I wanted to start the trend. Now it's like I could identify the trends and hold it back a little bit, and then kind of try to time the trends. It's kind of like surfing. So if you're going out there and you got to time the waves to get on the waves, otherwise you're too low, you're going to get smashed, or you're too high, you're going to get pushed over the wave. So it's like really timing it. So as I got older, I become more methodical of a business person and just more, looking at timing and things like that. Prior to Dub, I was in the music industry for a couple of years, had a label deal through BMG, label and production deal. So I produced an artist named El Presidente. The song was called Café con Leche. It was a Latin house song. Pitbull just remade my song this last year. So
congratulations.
Did that.
Awesome.
I was 19 years old, signed a $1.5 million deal and ended up losing 1.2 million. Ended up losing all my money by the time I was 22, 23, and had to sell my Rolexes and my Benzes and my Porsche. I was broke just to pay my bills. And what was really interesting, all the friends that I had and people that want to hang out with me, celebrities and everything, when I had the money, no one called me after that. It sucked. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And
So they
that's
weren't
just
your
the fact of the
true
matter.
friends.
You know what I'm saying? Like how many people like us for what we do, not for who we are, right?
That's so sad. And one of your TED Talks I actually watched recently, you said that I don't want to be somebody else. I want to be me, and that's the best that you can be. And that's 100,000% true. There's so many people out there who are like, I have to be this person. I have to have this many followers. I have to dress a certain way. But no, in reality, to be an awesome person, you have to be yourself. And that's just going to create such a good person. And you're probably going to go a lot farther than you think just being yourself.
Yeah, I think the key thing is that balance, right? So, there's the fake it till you make it, which, kind of works sometimes.
Yeah.
It worked for us with Dub and things like that. People thought we were a much bigger company than we were. We were a small mom and pop company founded by 3 guys that were non-educated, didn't go to college, barely graduated high school. So, it's one of those things where, we live the American dream every day, but the American dream's also kind of fake sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. So just understanding, I think the key thing is what really makes me happy, what really makes you happy, what really makes all of us happy is the key thing going forward, right? And if you're doing something that makes you happy, you're going to be passionate about it. So, just really understanding that car culture, rims in general, always was kind of my sweet spot. Like I just knew, when I started, I got kicked out of high school, went to continuation school and started working at a local rim store called Modern Auto. So the guy that hired me is the owner of Giovanna and Coco Couture and all that stuff. His name is Dico. So him and his dad and the manager, this guy Jeff, hired me when I was 16 years old, got kicked out of school, and I was, basically just in trouble. And they, taught me the industry, got me involved and all that stuff. And you know what? Thank God they did, because I don't know what I'd be doing after that, But getting that opportunity and then seeing that, so I'd be at the shops and I would see people there and I would ask them, why do you like that rim? Oh, I like this about the rim. Then I would ask the next customer, the same rim, why do you like that rim? They'll tell me 4 or 5 different reasons for each person why they like it. But they would always tell me one thing that everyone always liked. So when I started designing rims, I was like, I'm just gonna design the attributes that everyone likes. And I started doing that and it started winning because I was taking what they all liked about that one rim and then basically going. So like when I'm working on a rim, I'd say, okay, if this rim's really popular and this really is really popular and they had a baby, what would that baby look like? So I try to create and draw that baby of the 2 most popular wheels.
Do you
So
remember
it's just like a
the
strategy,
first design?
Huh?
Do you remember the first design that you made?
So the first wheel that I designed was actually a wire wheel. So it was a McLean wire wheel for a dually. And I was 17. So I designed that because I was buying a dually and I wanted some rims other than like Alcoas because that's all they had. So I designed a 17-inch wire wheel, full single reverse, and then I designed the front to where the hub actually flipped over, so they ran it backwards so it didn't stick out. Kind of like the same concept with the Alcoas. So I designed that. That was the first one. The second one was like at the time at Modern Auto, we were selling Fittipaldi wheels. So we're a Fittipaldi distributor with Emerson Fittipaldi. And the original Fittipaldi wheels was, all Italian made, really high end stuff. I mean, it was really, really good. So we were selling this wheel called the Fittipaldi 500, and it was really popular. So this company came out the steel wheel, and they wanted to make a front wheel drive version of a two-piece steel wheel, not aluminum. So I told them if they copied the Fitti 500 and did their version of it, not a direct copy, but something similar, that it would blow up, because it's a really popular wheel. Everyone wanted it, but the steel wheel was half the price. The company launched that, was super, super successful. I didn't make a penny, but I was super stoked to see something that I did get out there and make somebody a lot of money. So
that's super
so that
cool.
was the first wheel that I actually designed. And then after that, I started designing like kind of people, like for people, just kind of helping them design. And then after we launched Dub, when we launched, before I launched TIS, I launched Lorenzo wheels. So Lorenzo was my company, and I designed LO1 through LO7, I think, or maybe 10, or LO7, I think, was the last one I did. And then I sold that company to KMC, and then KMC sold it to Wheel Pros. And then I also invented the Spin Tech, so the spinning wheel adapter, the spinner.
Oh, I love
so I invented that about the same time, and I sold that out to KMC, and they sold it to Wheel Pros after.
Oh wow! Look at you, just boom, boom, boom. What was it? It's like the same time frame that everything had to happen, or what was the year mark?
When I started working on Dub, I was 24, and then 25. That's when we launched Dub. Official. That's when like the company started launching. The magazine came out, and I think after that, when I was 26. I think a year and a half later launched Lorenzo, and then like 6 months later launched SpinTech, and then 2 years later launched TIS, and then a year later after that we launched Drop Stars Wheels, which is another brand that we launched and we own. And we're working on other brands and things like that as well internally, but our main focus right now is TIS.
Where did that story kind of be, and where did the TIS come from?
So TIS, basically, since we own Dub Magazine and we're doing the Dub shows and celebrities and doing stuff with Kim Kardashian and David Beckham and Victoria Beckham and all the big celebrities and stuff like that, it was amazing. But they all wanted us to build cars for them and different things, so we would end up like making one-off rims or doing different things. So it's like, hey, we should do something there with this. So we had a sub-brand that we started just to launch the wheels called 20 Inches Strong. So because when you have Nike has the swoosh, that's associated with celebrity. Just do it, right? That's the one that it's like, I'm just doing it. That's my brand as a consumer, right? So Dub was the celebrity, like the Nike swoosh, and 20 Inches Strong was like the affiliation of all the people that were in that 20 Inches Strong kind of army, Oh, wow. And now we call it Team TIS. So it's kind of like you're part of Team TIS. And then as we progress, when Dub started, it was like Escalade wheels, and it was the urban stuff. It was street stuff. Escalade SUV, pass car, Lambos, Ferraris, all that stuff, Bentleys, Rolls Royce. And then 13 years ago, we started doing off-road. And then the off-road market just took off. So then we basically turned it all in off-road. Wow. So our roots are pass car and SUV and truck. So we have a lot of followers, a lot of show people, stuff in that niche. But we went off in the off-road, and all of us, drive off-road trucks and do motocross or side-by-side. So we were familiar with off-road. So it was a good transition for us. But we said that's the trend. That's where it's going to go. And we have our version of what we want to do, which is showier stuff, big show stuff and things like that. Obviously now we make 17-inch like B-Lock style rims. We have real B-Locks coming out for the true enthusiasts. We'll have Forge launching next year, which is not available right now. We have all the cast stuff out there now. So we're working on all of those things, but confidentially, another thing, we're going to be launching street this year again. So we'll have pass car SUV, 26s for Escalades and stuff, really high-end looking stuff. And that's the background. That's what we dominated for 20 something years. So we'll have that plus the off-road stuff that we've done really well. We've only been in off-road for 13 years. So for the growth that we've had in the off-road segment for 13 years with the 544, which is probably one of the hottest selling wheels in the market right now. And then we launched the MT tire with Hercules under the TIS brand. We have an RT tire coming out in October. So with Hercules and stuff like that. So, we're working really hard to be the authorities in the space. So what people actually, one of our users, right, one of our, Team TIS, members said, 20 inches strong, that's cool, but you guys are now the industry standard. That's what TIS stands for.
That's awesome. And I was going to ask you what in the past years, because yes, I know that you guys were street and then you went all of a sudden to off-roading. What did you miss street? Did you see like a whole big difference of the dynamics and the evolution of it all? Did people miss the street versus what they had, the off-road? Or what were your customers' feelings about all this too?
Well,
did you miss
I think a lot of it was, like we did dub for so long, you get fatigued. You know what I'm saying? So us as a company, we're like, dude, we're fatigued. There's not a lot of innovation there in that space. Mercedes, BMW, Audi, Lambo, everybody, their stock rims starting to look better, right? So it's kind of like, well, on the truck side of it, they weren't making, big rims. They're starting making 20s, 22s. It was very early. They weren't doing rims like we were with the big lip. They still aren't, the OEMs aren't. So it gives us that position, stuff like that. On the cars, they're doing body kits. Lowering was much easier now in the cars. On the trucks, they're manufacturing bumpers and lift kits. And there's a whole industry around the truck industry. So that's what excited us the most. It's like, wow, there's a lot of passion in this, and they're building one-off show cars to where like a Benz you would go, maybe they wouldn't even put a body kit anymore because they'd buy the AMG Benz and would just put rims and tires and that's it, call it a day. They weren't doing all these extreme builds and stuff like that, and they're kind of still not. I mean, they're doing wide bodies and all that stuff, but there's only so much you could do to a car like that. You got a truck, it's, the interior, you could do whatever. I'm not saying they're not taking Lambos and doing really crazy builds, but the average consumer has less to do with that particular car. They're gonna just drive it around. You get a truck, you look at it, you drive it, whatever, and you get it off the lot, or you can even finance all the parts from the dealer now. And it's booming, and then just think about the volume. You have millions of trucks out there a year compared to collectively maybe 1 million cars. So you have millions, probably three, maybe 2-point-something million trucks a year being sold every year, plus all the ones from last year and everything else. So there's just more opportunities and positions in there. So that kind of weighed into what we're doing on our research to try to attack that off-road market. And we're truck guys. We're all driving trucks, and we're like, you know what? I had Kings, long travel, all that stuff, like a pre-runner style. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put mid-travel. I'm going to put a big old lip wheel on there, So I'm going to make off-roading a little bit more urban,
it out.
And that's what we did because that's what we liked, right? So it's like a hybrid.
Yeah.
Anytime there's like a hybrid culture going on, it usually either fizzles out or blows up and creates a new thing. So, for us, it's just about really expressing ourselves and, not worrying about, hey, 80% of the market's doing this. Well, hey, we're going to be the 20%, but we're going to have fun doing it. And there's 20% of the people that really dig it. And can we make that 20% the 80? That's what we did with Dub. We took a culture that was shunned, street culture that was shunned, not, people, corporate companies weren't getting involved with it and everything. And we took it and we worked with Procter & Gamble, PepsiCo, Unilever, Walmart, all of these major brands, Monster Energy, GM, Chevy. And we're an urban company, street kids that didn't even barely graduate high school, didn't go to college. Working with the biggest brands like PepsiCo and Anheuser-Busch and Monster Energy and Unilever and Procter & Gamble, and having all these opportunities was just amazing. I mean, from the design side, probably one of the things I'm really, really proud of is I actually designed a Pepsi can, and it had a bunch of rims on there like snowflakes, and that was a limited production. Cool. So it's like a limited edition can that they launched. It was awesome. And I was in like Holland, traveling in Europe, and they had a vending machine with my graphics on it. I thought it was so cool. It was so awesome. So I thought that was really cool. I mean, I have over 200 wheel designs or something like that, probably more in the marketplace. I've designed for other top brands as well in the marketplace, aside from TIS and Dropstars and the brands I mentioned. So, but having a can of Pepsi with your design on it is pretty sick. And then, doing it was like, at the time, it was the second largest sweepstakes in Pepsi history. We gave away 70 cars in 70 days for 2 years. So with Jeff Gordon and Exhibit, the NASCAR driver and the rapper, and our Dub logo was on 1.5 billion bottles of Pepsi for 2 years. It was a trademark nightmare though, because we were getting attacked on our IP in every country. So we were spending millions of dollars just to protect our brand because it was so popular that people wanted a piece of it, and it was crazy.
That does sound like a nightmare. I'm not gonna lie. I've been there before. It's
something you're not ready for.
It's going so well, but can you just let me have it?
It's like, no, I just want to build cars.
Surprising.
I don't want to work with lawyers all day. You know what I'm saying? That just sucked. No disrespect to lawyers, especially if you have TIS wheels, but you know what?
They're probably gonna buy more of your wheels.
There you go. I love lawyers.
They're gonna be like, thank you so much for saying that. Do you have a favorite wheel that you designed that you remember or still have designed yet?
Well, I think I like them all, but I think probably the one I'm really proud of is the 544. I mean, the 544 BM is by far our number one seller. Probably from TIS, it's your number one seller. It just sells like crazy. And, I designed that rim almost 9 years ago. So it's kind of crazy, right? To think that I designed it 9 years ago. I think it launched 7 years ago, and it's been selling our number one seller for 7 years.
That's amazing. Yeah. So where did you get the inspiration for that 544 BM?
Well, I think what I was looking at was the market was changing, and Forged started to become really popular. So what I wanted to do is make a rim similar to kind of what's out there that's doing well, but make it look more forged. And that's when we did the TIS off-road on the lip, because it had all that milling on it. So when people saw all that milling, they're like, oh, that's not cast. That's not a cast aluminum wheel, that's a forged wheel. So it's almost like we tricked their mind visually to make them feel like it was a more expensive wheel than it was. And that was kind of the concept behind it. And look, we had it on the drawing board for 2 years before we launched it. And we refined it also too to get it to where it is today. But it was one of those things where it's like, will it work? Is the concept cool? This and that, and we gambled on it. I mean, at the time, the distributor and our manufacturer didn't even want to make the wheel. I had to beg them to make the wheel. I'm like, no, this is going to change the game. They're like, no, it's too different with the lip riding and all that stuff. And so I basically said, look, I'll put up a whole relationship to get this going, because that's how much I really want to stand behind the concept. And what's awesome too is we've also changed the molds and updated them now, because it's been 7 years. So we actually made the 2022 544 BM actually fit 2019 plus Chevy and GMC trucks, because it didn't. So we're the number one selling wheel that didn't fit all of those applications in 22 by 12. Now it does, right? So it just took us 7 years to fix it. So I'm sorry for everyone that couldn't get it, or they're, whatever, they have to run spacers or whatever. It sucks. But now we have it. And then we also made the 6-lug with a dual 6-lug with a covered cap, because we had the original spikes on there, the plastic spikes. We actually, are phasing that out, and now we have a new cap. That's the Haida cap. So now you can run that on your 19 Chevy with spike lug nuts. So thank you, Marketplace. We're listening now. It took us 7 years to do it. I'm sorry. Hopefully we're going to be better at listening and adapting, but better late than never. And the new 544 is also lighter than the past one. So we thinned out the spoke, made the milling bigger. So it's a little bit refined, but it still looks very similar.
Yes, I was noticing that too. So with your different types of how it's made, and from 7 years ago to last couple years, what kind of makes your TIS wheels stand out the most from any other brand?
Well, I mean, for us, we have good manufacturing. We're distributed by the largest distributor of tires and in the nation. They're doing billions of dollars in business. So they're the ones that are supplying our wheels, manufacturing. So we're always using A+ suppliers. There's a lot of the top guys use A+ suppliers too. So that's not a differentiator. I think the differentiator is our commitment to the marketplace, our builders, our customer service, all of those things that we really pride ourselves because we are the customer. So we understand kind of what's going on. So we're always going above and beyond to make sure that our customers are taken care of. And if you want to prove it, DM us. Okay? Go to social media, DM us.
Absolutely.
We repost everybody's stuff. Tag us in your posts. Like, we're all family. We're all Team TIS, and we're there to really help each other. You have a good idea. You want to design a rim? Bring it. You want a custom rim made one-off? I'll make it for you. I'll design it for you. Like, let's just design it together. We're really about the community and really working hard to make sure that there's a lot of industry, a lot of business, everybody's making a lot of money, but most importantly, we're doing stuff that people think is cool, right? If we could continue to do that, I'm so happy. Like, just, totally down. If we can make money and still do things that people think are cool, it's amazing.
So is it kind of weird seeing the younger demographic take it to a whole new level? Like, would your younger self be super amazed? Like, hey, oh my gosh, I did this. Or how are
my
you
older self is super amazed every day, and I'm out there. I love it, and I encourage them to do it. Like, disruption is what keeps the world going. What I'm saying? Look at Elon Musk.
Yes.
He disrupted. People hate him, but he's a disruptor. He changed our lives.
I'm a huge disruptor, and that's how I live my life. Because I will do anything independent. I'll be a huge disruptor because, one, that makes memories. Two, it's creating something else that you never knew existed.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's kind of a big thing, There's a huge community, like you said, about customizing and not experiencing. Well, I guess experiencing, but expressing yourself.
It is. People. So there was a campaign Honda did called Civic Nation. So it was like a big marketing campaign they did. I consulted on that campaign. That was part of my idea. And part of it was people join gangs and car clubs because they want to be affiliated, So that's why Nike Just Do It, 20 Inches Strong, right? Team TIS, Drop Stars Army. Like, that gives you the ability to mobilize with people that are like you. It's like music. You go to a music festival, you're like, I like that music too. You like it? I like those shoes too. Oh, you like those shoes too? What kind of bag do you wear? Oh, I like that too. What kind of gum do you chew? Oh, you like burritos? I like burritos. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have so much in common with these people that it makes you feel good. And that's really what car customization is, because you have all these little niches where they belong to that. So they're going down the freeway, they see a car like they like, and it's like they feel affiliated with that person. It's amazing. It's amazing.
They're connected.
Such a visual but emotional experience. So,
it's heartwarming actually. And when you think about it, it's just like, dang, we're literally all in this together. High School Musical.
And you want to know the secret sauce, right? Why I wanted to start Dub and do all the stuff and stuff like that? For the ladies. Yeah. That was it. Ugly guy like me needs a nice car. So that was the trick. You show up in a Lambo, it's on. Game on. I don't care how ugly I am. I show up in a Lambo, game on. I have a badass truck, game on, right? So that's the trick, guys.
Okay,
that's
the trick.
True. That's the trick. Yep.
That one's true. What did you notice? Because from a girl's standpoint, it's the black trucks with at least an 8-inch lip with the milled wheels and then a thick tire. Those are the ones that stand out for some reason. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I think it just comes back to it looks,
like colors.
When it goes off-road, they want it to look sinister, right? So you want it to look kind of beefy, you want it masculine, real rugged. And that's the thing, like, I've asked a lot of women about like off-road trucks and stuff like that. They said a man drives that. So they get attracted to that. It's almost like manlier, So even if I'm going to drive a sports car or I drive a truck, they rather have guys that drive trucks. They want a guy that owns a sports car, but they like him driving the truck better because it's more manly.
Well, you can do a lot more with a truck too. You could take that thing with an overland tent and you could go up that mountain and do whatever you want.
It's functional, everything else. I mean, I hit curbs all the time. So if I'm not in a truck, I mess up my wheels. You know what I'm saying? So, if you see me out on the road, get out of my way. You know what I'm saying?
That was a great secret sauce moment.
Yeah. That's it. Sure. I mean, really, at the end of the day, I started to get chicks, and that was it. And it worked. I got married.
Yeah. It did. It did. How long have you been married now?
18 years. So I'm going on my third 7-year age. Awesome. So hopefully she makes it in this one.
Oh my gosh, it should be just fine. It should be just fine. You can, as long as you have that nice truck,
Yeah, no,
right?
that's it.
You're
That's it.
great. You're
Yeah.
golden. I suppose with the high standards, like how do you keep all the high standards in your products? Is it from that whole team base that you're talking
Well,
about?
it's, the team keeps the standard, right? So if these truck builders are building really good trucks and stuff like that, they're keeping the standard for us as long as we're making really good high quality stuff, designing stuff. But really, it's about R&D. We spend millions of dollars in R&D on new product technology, new wheels, polishing, manufacturing, looking at the new stuff, trying to figure out what it is that people like. We spend a substantial amount of time doing a lot of research. Again, if people are listening right now and you have feedback, give us feedback. We love it. I'll actually try to figure out if I can give you something for your feedback or whatever it is. So I'm serious. We want it, good, bad, or indifferent, because if we hear negative feedback enough, we need to make the change.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a huge thing, and some people are afraid to do that negative feedback, but in all true honesty, we all love the feedback because that's when we can make a change and actually make people super happy. When the community and what you're talking about before, are you guys working on any community-based functions now? Because I know you guys love to give back. Are you doing anything new this year?
Yeah, I mean, this last weekend we're in Philadelphia Auto Show. So we had a big booth, TIS booth on the main floor of Philadelphia Auto Show. And we had 200 youth come from the Philly Youth Racing School, which is an urban charity there in Philadelphia that gives kids the opportunity to go race go-karts and simulators and meet NASCAR superstars and stuff like that, and F1 drivers. So, and it was launched by a good friend of mine, Anthony, and it was designed for people that are from lower incomes and don't have the money and the wherewithal to teach them how to get out of the hood and become engineers and mechanics and be in the racing and motorsports industry. So that's just one. We do stuff with education all over the nation, stuff like that with youth. Always just kind of doing community outreach and working with people and stuff like that. I mean, it's important. But most importantly, the trends start in the community. If you're not out there supporting them, why would they support you?
Mm-hmm. That's a true thing. That is a true fact right there.
It's me and my partners and our staff and our Team TIS and our friends getting together to really want to make a difference. And everyone has their own things on kind of what they want to do. And there's this misconception that it costs a lot of money to go make a difference in people's lives, right? I contacted the auto show. Yeah. They give those kids free tickets. I didn't. I just gave them the connection so they could actually take care of them. It's simple. If you want to make a difference in people's lives, just go out and do things for them. It doesn't cost any money. People want to feel loved. They want to feel people care. And that's really what it's about. And we've been successful and we grew fast with all of our brands, including TIS, because we care. We care and we want to make sure that we are exciting people when they're working with us. If they buy our product, we want them to be super excited. We want them to go out and drive that vehicle with our products on there and be proud. And that's really what it's about.
Yes. That's awesome. Oh, that's so exciting. I'm so glad you guys do that. Are you looking forward to anything in this upcoming 2024? Do you have like new lines, new products, new designs that you want to share? I know you said a couple already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. 2024, we have the MT tire out. We have, the 544, 547, all of the current ones. And we also just launched the 565. So now when this video comes out, the 565 will be in stock. And it's a multi-spoke, Y-spoke, super hot. The orders have been off the hook on it so far. So, I mean, it's going to definitely sell out all the inventory when it comes in. So, and then we just got the 563, which is a simulated V-lock multi-spoke, kind of method-ish, KMC-ish, kind of like that kind of feel. But I wanted to make it look a little bit more tuner-ish. So it looks a little bit more racy on that as opposed to off-road. Lightweight, I went for really lightweight construction. That's in the market now. It's selling out. What I'm really excited about is the off-road racing community. We've been giving us really good feedback. So we're actually working on a true beadlock wheel. So for the actual people that go Moab, the Jeepers that rock crawl and all that stuff. So we'll have a 563 true beadlock wheel available before, I would say, August of this year.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. I know I just went to Jeep Jam, and that's, I think, October-ish area. So hopefully that's going to be
we're definitely going to have it for that. And, it's cool to have that because right now we don't have a real beadlock. We don't sell forged wheels other than what we build for our custom builds and our sponsored Team TIS guys. So for people to be able to purchase those now, it's a huge opportunity for us. And look, again, we're looking for feedback. Design-wise, what do you guys want us to make? What sizes are we missing? What finishes should we make? All of that stuff is crucial for us to make the right decisions to deliver what the customer wants.
Right. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. I'm excited for that bronze. That's gonna be sweet. You've never had that. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, the bronze came out really, really good. It's a dark bronze. So, I mean, again, we're listening to the shop owners, people like yourselves, influencers, our Team TIS guys, and, the 16-year-old high school kid that want TIS or put them on his truck, his Ford Ranger or whatever it is, Toyota Tacoma. We're listening. We're making those applications because we never had those before. We didn't have 17 offset with a 0 in that kind of, off-road style, to compete against Method or Fuel or any of these guys. Now we have it. And we're gonna have a lot more coming down the pipeline. Right. So, we're going after that. You'll see us strategically go and build that out. But most importantly, we want to make sure we're building it out correctly. So we want your feedback. We want you to tell us, if our stuff sucks, tell us it sucks and how to fix it. Don't just tell us it sucks
and that's just
not give us
DMing
any examples of how to fix it.
I was like, whoa. And that's just like DMing you guys on Instagram,
call,
Facebook,
DM,
like all
whatever.
socials.
You could go to my page, whatever. We have people answering like almost 24/7, not bots. See, we have no bots on any of our social media. It's us. You know why? Because we care. We want to know what's going on. We want to make sure if somebody has a problem. Obviously, if it's a warranty issue on the stuff, it goes through ATD, which is our distributor, through the shop they bought it from. But simultaneously, they could reach out to us too, and we could try to expedite the process. You guys could reach out to us too.
Or I can do the same thing.
And we could try to expedite the process. I mean, you guys do a great job with that.
I could do it.
But those are the things that we really pride ourselves on. And you know what? If you have our wheels and you're having a problem, contact us. I challenge you to contact us, and we'll take care of it.
Oh, I love a good challenge. That's awesome. I hope people take you up on that challenge because that's gonna be exciting. And if they actually talk to maybe even you, I think their minds would be blown. Like, all right, let's get this design. Let's do this, and if you don't like it,
I'll make it happen. I mean, just think about this. Cool. We're so diligent about getting people's information and all that stuff, and making sure that we don't miss messages and all this stuff. I mean, I was on a TV show called Secret Millionaire, so I don't know if you got to see that, and it was on Fox. 11 million viewers.
Was it Secret Millionaire?
No, it's Secret Millionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I'm a millionaire. Well, at the time I was a millionaire. Now I'm broke. How about that? But I was on that show, and I didn't understand kind of what the impact that show was going to have worldwide. So it aired worldwide. 11 million views just in the U.S. So after it viewed in the U.S., I had 10,000 emails of people asking for money or for me to help them. It was crazy. I answered every single email back. It was insane. And there was pictures of people with their families in their cars, homeless. I mean, it was really, really sad. I mean, it was really, really tough to go through so many emails and so many responses over the time. And then what was interesting, when I went to other countries, like say I went to the UK after that, I would get another 1,000 emails from the UK of people trying to get money. And I would think, maybe half of them were fraudsters, you know what I'm saying? But the other half, my God, like you would be crying reading these letters and seeing these pictures and stuff. It was crazy. But that's what we're about. We're about making a difference, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love that. You're so involved with the community. You help everybody and anybody, and you love the feedback for your own sake too. So if anyone has a problem, like let you know. Like that's so genuine. It's really cool.
Thanks. No, I mean, we want the feedback. Cool. We appreciate the customers, the relationships. We appreciate you guys and your guys' business. And you know what? Let's take it to that next level, right? 2024, it's election year. People are saying that it's going to be struggling. There's market share to get, and we're going after it.
One last question. What are we expecting in SEMA of 2024? Anything exciting?
We already locked down the date for the party. So you know what? Come to the party. We're talking to some really, really big performers. So we had Ludacris last year. So the caliber of performers are going to be, Ludacris or better, or, whatever, like A-list celebrities. So we already have the club locked in. We're working on the talent now. We should have that locked shortly. SEMA show, Awesome show. Attendance was awesome last year. I think it's going to be even better this year. I think last year we had 150 trucks out there, builds, and we had 630 by 80 booths, and we had all our influencers out there and everything. So we're going to at least do that, but we're going to launch the RT tire, which is the TIS RT, which is called the RT1, and then we're also going to launch the new forge rims that we're working on and all new products. So it's going to be exciting, and you're going to be able to see all the custom forged car rims and stuff that we're going to do. We have some secrets and stuff that we're going to launch on the car side of it. So.
That's exciting. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Myles, for joining us for this interview. I'm so happy to chat with you, and I probably talked your ear off, but you're just so amazing. I just wanted everyone to know what you do, where your story began, and what you do for the community. It's such an honor to just interview
Thank you.
with you.
Likewise. Such an honor to be here with you guys. And like I said, this is our year. Let's go get it.
ShopCWO.com. Custom Wheel Outlet.